This is a test. Give me one shot.
The FNM.
I know how you feel about it in Mangrove Key and in South Andros.
And the PLP hit the Family Islands as May 7th elections draw closer. A 22-year-old hauled before the courts, the mysterious case police have linked him to. And controversy over casting ballots. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel expects by tonight to have the remaining ballots from yesterday's advance poll and absentee voting in his custody. He told members of the media today that while an official count was not made, an estimated 2,200 people cast ballots at the Kendall Isaacs Gymnasium and even more of them at the College of the Bahamas. Mr. Bethel said he was pleased with the process but addressed some concerns that arose out of yesterday's process. Our Janaea Noel Ferguson has details.
With advance polling day already history, the parliamentary department is preparing for the May 7th election, but there is always a concern of double voting. Parliamentary Commissioner Errol Bethel says they have strict measures in place to ensure that this does not happen.
We're going through a very tedious process right now of making sure that all of the counterfoils that were used yesterday are sorted and put back in those tins. We have those marked, and we know who the people are who voted, because this was a question we were looking at for some time, how to ensure that there's no double voting.
Following the advance polls Monday, there was a concern of how the ballots were returned to the parliamentary department.
Proper procedure was to put the ballots in sealed envelopes.
And what happened?
People were insisting that they want to see these ballots in boxes, but that is not what the law says. And because I have a responsibility to take these, not boxes, but envelopes to the various centers where they're going to be on election day. We will definitely be meeting with people between now and Monday, and we will be talking about certain things because we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. We want to make sure that everybody is doing the same thing, because we want to make sure that the procedures are uniform.
Election results will be sent to a center within the department that will be sent to the media, but those results won't be official until
the next day. We should have an official count, and at that point in time, we will know the official result of the election.
Meanwhile, long lines remain at the Parliamentary Registration Department. Bethel says voters can still collect their voter registration cards up until Election Day on May 7th. Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS News.
Two of the international observer bodies participating in the upcoming general election process officially launched their missions in the Bahamas today. The Organization of American States, OAS, and CARICOM both did so in tandem with parliamentary registration officials at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The OAS Bahamas mission, led by Alfonso Quinones, will see 18 observers stationed in the Bahamas over the next week as they seek to scrutinize the fairness and transparency of the electoral process during the general elections of May 7th. The OAS and CARICOM observers will be in the Bahamas until next week, Tuesday. The groups are expected to produce a report on their missions over the coming month, detailing their observations and recommendations. Well, while we're on the subject of elections, if today's date, May 2nd, has a certain ring to it, there's a reason for that. Successive general elections were held on that date. The last general elections were held May 2nd, 2007. The Free National Movement won 23 of 41 seats after 2 election court battles, while the Progressive Liberal Party won 18 seats. 5 years earlier, in 2002, the Progressive Liberal Party was elected to government. Back then, the PLP won 27 of 40 seats. The Free National Movement won 7 seats, and independents claimed 4 seats in Parliament. PLP leader Perry Christie said the government is using the public treasury to win an election. Mr. Christie asserts that the government is using jobs and contracts to allegedly bribe voters. F&M campaign spokesperson Tommy Turnquest, responding to these latest claims, says the allegations of bribery are just more false attacks, which in his view come from a party leader with no vision and a scandalous record. He says not only are the claims about jobs and contracts being given out connected to voting baseless, but there is not one single instance to support this statement. Turnquest says there are no new or unexpected government contracts being signed that were not previously anticipated. He maintains that the government is an ongoing institution and must continue to serve the people of the Bahamas. He says the needs of the people can't and shouldn't take a backseat just because an election is nearing. In 2007, he says the PLP signed a number of rushed and unexpected contracts immediately prior to the election, which were later discovered to be lacking funding, planning, and good intentions. He also claims the PLP promoted hundreds of police officers days before the 2007 elections.
The fact that we were hearing up to yesterday hundreds of people being employed, there is no way of explaining that. That is an inducement of the growth this kind. I indicated last night that it is an abuse of the people concerned. Obviously, they need the job, but to be giving out contracts in the middle of a campaign, I propose to announce before we go to the general vote that the Progressive Liberal Party will move legislation to outlaw that when an election period starts, you just cannot do this kind of thing, and it is just open bribery.
In other news tonight, Mr. Turnquest also addressed allegations that the opposition leader's wife was spat on yesterday during the advanced poll. Mr. Turnquest says, according to a police investigation, it didn't happen. During a police investigation, he says Mrs. Bernadette Christie told officers someone who was speaking to her had saliva coming from his mouth, but she was never spat on or at. Yesterday, Mrs. Christie told the media that the incident did take place. Meantime, police confirmed in a report this morning that they're investigating a complaint made by a female at the advanced poll on the grounds of the College of the Bahamas Hotel Training School, Thompson Boulevard, which reportedly occurred shortly before 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Police indicate that it's alleged that the female was spat on by a person in the crowd. The matter is being investigated by a team of officers from the Special Investigations Team of the Central Detective Unit. Despite reports...
Well, I would condemn his wife, and I don't think that people should be calling him names. But of course, I don't take offense to those things. When I went to vote this morning, the PLPs were there. Hubert got to go, Hubert got to go, Hubert got to go. I stopped the car, smiled, waved to them, and moved on. No big deal. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Well, despite reports in today's local dailies, Minister for the Environment Earl DeVoe confirmed to ZNS News that petroleum licenses for the Bahamas Petroleum Company have not been renewed. BPC recently posted a release on its website explaining that their licenses were renewed last week Friday, April 27th, and the terms include a commitment to spud oil exploration by April 26th of 2013. Arl DeVries Bunnings has the story.
According to the Bahamas Petroleum Company's website, their Bahamas office is located here in Mount Pleasant Village in western New Providence. Now, when we got here to Mount Pleasant Village Wednesday afternoon, we weren't able to locate any of BPC's offices. We wanted to get a comment from a BPC official on a report that 5 of their petroleum licenses have been renewed. But we did get a comment from the Minister of the Environment, Earl DeVoe, who outright said that the government has not renewed 5 of BPC's licenses.
Upon receipt of legal advice, this ministry advised BPC that it is presently unable to accept rental fees for the period April 2012 to 2013, as the government has yet to determine its course of action in connection with license renewal. The ministry also advised that it will not seek to exercise any rights afforded under Clause 41 of the agreement as a result of its inability to accept the said rental fees. Contrary to the stories appearing in today's dailies, BPC's licenses have not been renewed.
According to BPC's website, the company submitted payment on April 25th for annual rental of 5 petroleum licenses: Bain, Cooper, Donaldson, Eneas, and Miami. The website also stated that the next license renewal is due April 27, 2015, contingent on the company meeting its drilling and expenditure obligations during the current 3-year period.
I think this is a clear case where a publicly traded company did an action based on what they reasonably expected, and the press picked it up and published it without the company or the press verifying the particulars. In their third renewal, if they have a prospect of finding petroleum, they are required within a year to drill. This law was written quite some time ago. The Bahamas is not in a position to accommodate oil drilling because it doesn't have the regulatory environment to manage it.
Oil exploration has become a political issue as Free National Movement leader Prime Minister Hubert Ingraham has said the next Free National Movement government won't drill oil in the Bahamas. And Progressive Liberal Party leader Perry Christie says his next government will not drill oil without public consent through a national referendum. The Democratic National Alliance issued a statement Wednesday criticizing both major party leaders of not addressing the real issues. Altaviz Munnings, ZNS News.
Work on the New Providence Road Improvement Project apparently still causing some disruption. The road works on East Street and Soldier Road, upsetting the owner of Esso Service Station this morning. Vanco Bastian told ZNS News that the closure of one lane near his station has crippled business.
I haven't gotten no business at all for this morning. Usually this period of the day, this early morning is usually one of our busiest times. And as a result of the roads, the traffic being detoured from this location, I haven't made any sales today.
Did you speak with anybody from either Jose Cartellone Construction or Bahamas Hot Mix?
I've spoken to Shanique Albury, who returned my call, who's always been very helpful and positive. Her hands are tied. I've spoken with persons with Bahamas Hot Mix who given me, said they might be finished by 2-3 o'clock today. But, you know, in this business, with the margins being the way they are, if you lose an hour or two, you've lost the whole day.
Now, Mr. Bastian anticipates the relevant authorities will provide some resolution to his dilemma very soon. Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the FNM and PLP take their campaigns to Andros. Here what they had to say coming up.